we have a few more things left to talk about before you can finish this off. By this point, you should have gotten the constructors out of the way. You should have been able to do toString. All right, and you could test toString. One thing that we need to talk about, well, count number of. If you could do toString, you should be able to count the number of target in there. So if there are like 5 2s in your linked list and you go count number of 2s, this needs to return 5, right? And if there's nothing in your list of that particular number, this needs to return 0. So you should be able to why is it record? Oh my God. Okay, stop recording. So you should be able to do count number of, and it's the same drill, while loops, right? Now the only other thing is add to tail and delete. Now you could have a tail pointer. We're not going to do that. Instead, our add to tail is going to be as follows to give you more practice with the while loops. But we'll talk about a tail pointer maybe after I come back. It'll be a quick exercise we do. It's not super important, and it's typically not included. But there's a good reason to include it. We'll talk about it when I come back. Actually, there might be a question on it too. Okay. So let's think about delete. Okay, so delete is deleting a target value. And it's just deleting one of a given target value. Okay, so if I have head, okay, pointing, if I have head pointing to 5, pointing to 3, pointing to 5, pointing to 23, pointing to null, okay, and I delete 5, okay, what it'll do is it'll delete this, all right? It'll delete the first 5 it runs into. Okay, so, and then it'll return true, okay? And so what this will turn into is head pointing to 3, pointing to 5, pointing to 23, null, okay? And then you could delete 3, you could delete 5, you could delete 23, you should have an empty list at that point, okay? So, how do we work this? How does this thing work, okay? How do you delete values? Well, we got to think of our cases, right? So what happens if head points to null, okay? What happens if head points to 5, points to null, okay? What happens if head points to 5, points to 3, points to null, okay? And then what happens if head points to, 3, 9, something, 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 5, null, or something like that, right? So we have a bunch of cases, and you could even be like 5 to 10 to null, right? If you don't want to, if the last one is the same thing as this, kind of, right? Because that's already the last one. So if it works for this, it should hypothetically work for the last one. So, well, if head points to null, that's easy. This is your target value. Let's say you're looking for your target value of 5. Okay, do you want to delete 5? If head points to null, that's the end of the game, right? It's not in there, right? So we know what to return in that case, okay? If head points to 5, points to null, right? What we would want is afterwards we want head to point to null, right? Because we're going to remove 5, okay? If head points to 5, points to 3, points to null, then we want head to point to 3. Head to point to 3 to point to null, okay? And if head points to 3, points to 9, something, something to 5, right? Then after this is done, we want head to point to 3, 9, blah, 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 and then we'll have 5 pointing to null. Okay? So in all 3 of these cases, what we're doing is we need to, we're deleting 5. I'm sorry. Let's do this. I screwed this up. Let's say it's 9. Let's not do ... Let's do this, because otherwise it won't work. And so in this case, what we end up getting is head pointing to 3, pointing to 9, pointing to 10, pointing to null. Okay? So what's interesting about this case, and this case is that it looks like we are jumping the number. So we take whatever it previously is and jump it. Okay? If it's one thing, then we know that this is just going to jump that one node. Okay? Now if it's 2 things, right, it's the beginning thing, we're just going to jump that node. Okay? Now if it's 3 things, right, or more than that, what we're going to do is we take the previous node and we jump it. Okay? So we basically just need to jump this thing every time we see it. Okay? How does that mean? Well, in this case, we're looking at this link, right? Because that's going to allow us to do that. In this case, again, we're looking at this link. In this case, we need the link of this, and we need this, right? So how do we do this? Okay. Well, in the one case, it's really easy, right? We can see, okay, there's only one thing, and it's pointing to null, right? And so I just have to jump it, right? It's a special case. In the 2 case, it's another one where it's the first one, right? So we just need to jump it, and that's pretty easy, right? If it's this, then this will point to that. And so these are kind of the same case. I might have screwed that up. Here, it gets a little interesting, okay? So I think you can do 1, 2, and 3. But 4 here is going to get interesting. So let's talk about what needs to happen in 4. So I believe it was... So I did not break this down right. I will redo this video one day, but since I'm leaving for Alaska so soon, I'm not going to redo it anytime soon. We just got to run. We got to go with it. We'll do it live. Bill O'Reilly, who, little known fact, donated money to our school. It's a true story. I don't know. Maybe I'm breaking that. Maybe this is the first time it's being said publicly. It was said in a faculty senate once, so that's public. That's public record. I'm not breaking any news story. Yeah, so Bill O'Reilly came to our campus and quote, did it live by donating some money. Okay. So stupid. All right, so we're gonna remove 5. All right, how do we remove 5? Well, think about it. I can't, if I make current equal to head, okay, and I do my while loop, and I get all the way to 5, okay, well, that's great, except I need to jump the last one over this, right? So I also need something that has a link to this, right? And then I can say, make this node's next equal to this node's next, and that'll jump it nicely. So the one hiccup here is I have to find a way to have maybe when current's over here, we have previous over here, okay? So we can start this by setting previous and current equal to head, okay? And then we can set previous equal to current and then update current so that current's always 1 ahead from previous, okay? But you have to check the first one. So previous will be at this first node twice, basically, which isn't bad, whatever. There's a few different ways you could do it. Or you could just do it in the... No, you can't. It has to be scoped outside of the loop. So before the while loop now, you're going to make a previous, and you're going to make a current, and you can make it equal to head. Okay? And then you'll go through, right? And in the case that we have here, you'll want this situation at some point where previous points to the previous one, current points to the current one, right? And then it's really trivial to jump this thing. And now it's deleted. Okay? Sometimes people will try to make this equal to null, and then so it's not like pointing to something, but I don't think it really matters. Nothing's referencing this, so it's going to be it's gone basically. Okay, and so that's us deleting something from the linked list. All right. So there's a few other fun things here. So that you should be able to do that. So check out the special cases. What are some other fun things? Oh yeah. So if you can delete, right, you can also add to tail. Add to tail is really easy. So add to tail means you go to the last node, and that's the node that's pointing to null, and you just jump it. Okay. So not jump it. I'm sorry. That's the node that's pointing to null, and you add a node to that, and that node points to null. So add to tail should be really straightforward. So actually, if I was to say the order you do these in, I would do the Is someone in my room right now? No. Okay. I would do the constructors like you've probably already done. I would do toString, right, and count number of, because they're basically the same thing. I would do, and add to head with the constructors, right? Then I do toString and count number of, and then either of these, it doesn't really matter. Add to tail is super easy, and you should already have the wherewithal to do that. And then delete should be pretty straightforward. Okay, and then by the end, you should see, you should be able to delete and add and delete and add, and you can have a list of integers. All right, a list of integers that is different than your array of integers in the sense that it's like an infinite array. Okay, you can add to it forever and ever and ever and ever. Okay, without having to like make a bigger array, copy everything over, right? Which you have to do in a regular array. Hopefully that makes sense. I think that's where we're going to stop, because I've counted up the number of videos, and there are some 20-something videos, and I think that's good enough for 2 weeks. When I come back, we're going to do the bag class. Now that you're all experts on linked lists, we're going to do the bag class. We're going to kind of do generics, and then we will jump into hashing, and we will end the semester, end the summer with binary search trees. So we'll have a good time. And then if we have time left over, there's other fun stuff we can do. But I at least want to get through that, because that'll make you professional data structurers. Okay, so I'm going to make another video talking about how things work on the 2 weeks we're off. But yeah, I'll see you when I come back from Alaska, unless I'm in a bear's stomach, in which case, I don't know. You got to figure it out. I'll text you from the bear's stomach. I think I can probably still answer questions from it. Anyways, see you when we get back. All right, July 14th, I believe, is our next class. So I'll see you July 14th. Cool. And if you have questions, ask them. You can ask the group me. People have been responding to that, or you can email me. But I may not answer. I don't actually think I'm gonna have any service where I'm going for like most of the time. But I'll see it when I get back, or I'll see it when I do have service, and then I'll try my best to help you. Do not start late. I gotta say this later. I'll say all of this later, because this is the last video. You're not even gonna get. You've already heard me say this. Let me waste your time some more. Bye. Have fun, guys. Happy 4th.